This segment is sponsored by the ALS Association Central and Southern Ohio chapter.
And this morning, our main focus is on an effort to oust a disease that was made famous in 1939 by baseball player Lou Gehrig. The disease itself is called amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It's known as ALS for short. I had the chance to visit an incredible family that is hopeful with every effort that's made to defeat this disease. It'll change lives.
Good night, clocks. Good night, socks. Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere. Time to say good night.
It's hard to watch that PSA and not have a tear in your eye. It's even probably more difficult if you can imagine just living that experience, and that is the case for the people who join us here. These are the actual people depicted in the national PSA for the ALSA. And with me, we have Annie, we have Jason, and you saw Ellis in the PSA, cute little thing. Thank you for allowing us to be in your house. Appreciate that.
Thank you for coming.
And let's talk about what people, when you watch a PSA like that, you're probably not grasping the fact this is somebody's real life. These are not actors, let alone here you are in Central Ohio. Tell us how this all first came about and what your journey has been for Jason and yourself.
Okay. The public service announcement was really a company that was just looking for true people, and they gave very little information. They just said they wanted somebody with late-stage ALS. And so I mentioned it to Jason and said, are you interested in that? And he said, okay, let's go for it. We were just being ourselves and telling our story, and they fell in love with it.
14 years now, correct?
Absolutely.
14 years. Jason was diagnosed at what age?
He was 28 years old at diagnosis, and it didn't run in his family, so it kind of shook his world. He thought maybe he had carpal tunnel because his hands weren't working correctly. So he went to the doctor, and the doctor referred him to someone else because he knew something just wasn't right.
Right.
So he was diagnosed with that. You had kind of a dark time after diagnosis.
Oh, I'm sure.
Anybody would have trouble dealing with that. But he has managed to stay positive. In fact, that's probably why he's still here 14 years later.
And when we saw at the end of the PSA, as Ellis crawls up on Daddy for that goodnight kiss, what has she done to give you a moment of levity throughout this?
She's amazing. She's dealt with this from day one, so she really doesn't know any different. But she's very caring and compassionate, and that's our role as parents. And so given our special circumstances, she understands that she has to be patient sometimes because I have to help Daddy. So she's just this caring, wonderful, patient little girl.
Marlon, when you hear families, real families, like Jason's family, who are suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease, tell us what kind of services ALSA offers them, and then we'll get to how the community can get involved.
Our chapter, the Central and Southern Ohio chapter, covers 55 counties in the state. And the services we provide are free of charge to all patients and their families. And those range from case management, from registered nurses and social workers, to equipment loan. We have over 900 pieces of equipment spread out through all those counties and different loan programs. We also provide local support groups and education groups which meet specifically for patients, for caregivers, family members, friends. And so those are really, really key services to patients and their families. I actually benefited as someone who had a loved one with ALS. My mom had ALS. Unfortunately, she only lived a year with it. But being able to attend a local support group here in Columbus was very important to me at that time, and that's why I've stayed involved with the organization.
So tell us how the community can get involved.
We have a Walk to Defeat ALS coming up very soon. It's on Sunday, September 23rd at Columbus Commons. And these walks that we have raise 70 to 75% of our annual income for the chapter to provide these free services. So if people would register for the walk, make a donation, ask your friends and family to make a donation, that's right now the best way to get involved. And they can do that by going to our chapter website, which is alsohio.org.
The disease is real. The families behind this disease are very real. And the opportunities for people to help are also very real.
Absolutely.
So let's ask for people to give help today.